And we are live. I'm going to keep you guys in the back room for just a second. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I have a fun cast of characters tonight. Brought them together for a little live stream I'm going to try and do every other Friday night. So, with that being said, let's see if I hit the right button here. And come on. Not like I haven't done this before. There we go. All right, so we're gonna do it this way. We're gonna go from bottom left, way down there. There we go. Point the right way, all the way around. Tyler, howdy.
Hello. It's great to be here.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, real quick. 60-second introduction.
Oh, um, I'm Tyler Moran, KF0PTL. I am the son of this guy up here. I just joined Ham Radio. Took my technician like a month ago, and then I just took my general at Hamvention and passed. Barely, but passed.
Congratulations.
So it was a good time. That was exciting. And I'm hoping to learn a lot more about ham radio in the next coming months and years.
Well, I think you got a fantastic person to help you learn along there. All right, next up, Lou. How you doing, Lou?
I am doing. Actually, I'm tired as hell. So I'm dragging butt. It's Friday evening. It's been a long week, and I've kind of got the ball game on over here. So we'll see how my alma mater does. They're tied up 2-2 going in the top of the ninth. So if y'all see me jump up and down or start throwing things, you'll know how the game's going. So
fantastic.
I'll try to keep the mic muted to keep the profanities off your stream.
Awesome. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your channel.
What? If you don't know who I am by now, I mean, my God. Well, so the channel is Hiking and Hammond. The call sign is K4H&H. And that's what the channel's about. It's about hiking, hamming, camping. We're going to start throwing in some off-road stuff as I get time and feel like I'm ready to do that. So we'll see how that goes. And usually I am joined by Pink KQ4CRY, my girlfriend. She is actually in Georgia at the moment. So she's not here tonight. So it's just me.
Very cool. Well, thank you for coming on. Vince, over to you.
Good after evening, noon, y'all. How's it?
Tell us about you, Vince.
Hey, I am the guy that you hear apparently with the exotic Canadian accent on Ham Radio Workbench. And that's what somebody just commented lately. You'll find me on YouTube at VE6LK when my website's working, VE6LK.com. I've been doing this for a couple of decades. It's a whole lot of fun. It's a great hobby.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Vince or Lou, if one of you wouldn't mind dropping your links if you want, and any other links we might come up with tonight. You both have mod rights on my channel. So, Andy,
excellent.
Howdy. Good to see you.
How we doing, everybody? Thanks, Frank, for inviting us along on the journey tonight. So pretty exciting stuff. Our first live stream here, so that'll be fun. My name's Andy. I've been in ham for what is this? 24, about 5 years, 4 or 5 years, and decided to drag my son along, kicking and screaming sometimes, but he's very interested, and we started a little bit of a channel, so we're seeing where it goes, and we did a couple videos with him studying, and I personally love kit building, and that's what I've been doing a lot of. I got a few things coming up, and maybe try and record a few things, and see how it goes from there. But once again, thanks everybody, and
fantastic. Well, thank you.
Onward and upward.
Absolutely. So, Tyler, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Since you're the new General Tyler, by the way, if nobody gets that reference, you better check it out on Andy and Tyler's channel. Tyler, I want you to pick a subject for tonight related to ham radio that you want to talk about. It can be a question you have, anything.
Oh wow.
I told you to prepare, boy.
Um, okay. How about as a new ham, what are some things that I should look to get into to start getting on the air and stuff like that?
That is a good one. Lou, do you have anything?
Oh man. Let me think about that for a minute. Because I don't have a really good response for that off the top of my head.
While Lou's thinking, chat, if you guys have anything that you want to contribute, go on in and drop it in the chat. Vince, what about you?
Well, I think the world of getting into Morse code, and one day I'm even going to get good at it. But it's an interesting language, and y'all can use some pretty lightweight, inexpensive gear to get on the air. You can get on the air as a technician in the US with Morse code. There are some allocations on 10 meters and 40 meters, and possibly some others. I'd have to consult an ARRL band plan. So that's what I think a starting point is, anyway.
And I'm sure you've heard plenty from your father, but Andy, what do you think?
Well, Vince has a great idea there with Morse code getting in there. That's something I'm trying to pursue as well, among 1,000 other things, I think. But I think focusing on something, whatever it is you decide to do, whether it be repeaters, whether it be HF, whether it be Morse code, whether it be FT8, pick that and focus on it for a while, and kind of try and work within your budget to see, okay, hey, I'm going to try and work these repeaters here for a while here around where I'm living at, just to kind of get a feel for things. And then POTA, you've done POTAs with me before. We did the 7 states in however many days that was. And so the cadence, and I think we need to get you out and do some POTA here soon to kind of get you going. But POTA is a great place to start, I think, personally. But
and Rob has a good one here. KB6JFL. Get on the air trying different modes and bands, then pick one or more of what you like, or all of them. June makes it 49 years since he was licensed at the age of 14.
Wow.
So for me, I'm sort of along the same way there. I got into ham radio. Well, I started, as I just said, on TO's channel. I started with a scanner, and I happened to stumble across the pre-programmed ham radio in the scanner, and this was back early 2000s. And I went, what's this? And I went to the library. Who here remembers those? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I went to the library, went through the card catalog, and found the ARRL books, and went, oh, this looks like something I'd be interested in. So I went, studied all that, and then for the longest time, I was just 2 meters and UHF, and that was my bread and butter. I absolutely liked it. That's what I stuck with. And then I started to get into HF a little more because the regular everyday people were just, it was Boresville for me. So for me, I agree. Expand your horizons. If you find a particular niche that you like, get into it, but don't overdo it in that particular area, because then you'll get bored of it and you might not find something you like about it anymore, like in the hobby, and then you might get bored completely of it. So find something that interests you, but doesn't take you too far out of the hobby either. Lou, have you had some time to think about it?
Yeah. I was going to kind of piggyback on what you were just saying, and the thought had formulated in my head was try as many things as you can. don't limit yourself. Frank was just saying, don't get so deep into something that you get bored with it, and it could potentially drive you away from the hobby. I would say find a niche that you like and explore it, but leave yourself open to all the other niches. That's the great thing about this hobby. There's so many different things that you can do, and they're all interrelated, but some of them just are seemingly not really related. So that's the beauty of it all. So don't feel constrained to doing one thing. Constantly expand. Even if you don't do it, study it a little bit, see what it's all about. If you're not doing satellites, I would still say, go watch Digital Rancher's his channel, and just so okay, so this is a possibility. And then when you find that niche that you've been in is starting to get a little stale, you can say, you know what, I think I'm going to do satellites now. And you already have a good idea of what's going on there. The other part of that too is where you can help grow the hobby. And that's when people come up to you and they say, hey, well, I heard that you can talk to satellites. Well, if you've kind of studied even a little bit some of these other niches, and I don't mean in depth, but just have a kind of a light working knowledge of them, then you can talk more about those things instead of saying, and I've seen hams do this. We're like, well, I don't know anything about that. Well, that puts prospective hams off when you say, well, I don't know about that, or you're dismissive of it. You can say, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I do know that they do this, 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 and this. And then that prospective ham comes away with this feeling. They get a little bit more of a warm and fuzzy because you knew what you were talking about. Even if you really didn't know a whole lot about what you were talking about, that impression remains. So that's where I would go with that.
And to even expand upon that, and then we can move on to something else you might have. Say you're out doing POTA. I know for Vince and Lou, I don't know about you, but for Vince especially, not every POTA activation is sideband. So a lot of the time it's CW, right, Vince?
Yep, you bet.
You can go back and forth between the two there, but then there's also other ways you can play POTA without either of those. Say you're just absolutely drown out in sideband and CW with POTA, but you still want to go POTA. Go out and try, SSTV, or as Lou said, satellites, or one of the other niche digital modes, because I know you're a bit of a younger ham and a newer ham, so probably the digital is a little more to your flavor. I'm 30 something years old. I have a birthday in June. I've already forgotten how old it is. It's mid 30s. I'll leave it at that. And I'm the same way. When I get tired of calling CQ on sideband, I'll go over to a digital mode. It's not always FT8 or FT4. I go over to slow scan TV or Hellscriber, which is another mode that you can look into. And the last thing here, there we go. Rob's right. Try a contest if you haven't before. Those are quite interesting.
Yep. One of the best things that contesting is good for. So I get approached a lot about MCOMs because of my background in it. And the one thing I tell people is, if you want to be very proficient when it comes to an MCOM situation, I'd like you to go practice sideband or phone contesting of some sort, because it's going to teach you to pick out noise from sound from the noise, and to start to discriminate different people's voices in your head, which really helps you when you've got a whole pile of traffic flying at you.
Absolutely. So Tyler, I hope that helps with that. Do you have any other fun questions you might want to ask? I mean, this is open floor forum. You can ask anything about ham you want.
Oh wow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
We can't lend you any money for a radio just before you ask.
If you don't, I'll happily pick on your dad.
I mean, it's all right now. It's just been basically, I don't know much right now, but I'm just trying to listen and just take in as much information as possible from other hams, going to Hamvention, even going to Dayton last year also. It's just like, just trying to listen and try to get a little bit up to just even a basic level, because it seems like there's just so much to do and there's so much to see. A lot of it's interesting. And what would be another question that I could ask?
In that vein, I'd like to point out, I've been a ham since 1988, and this year was the first time I've ever actually made it to Dayton. And I will tell you, it was absolutely overwhelming to me. You know, and I go to electronics trade shows all the time and things like that. This was just absolutely overwhelming to you. So to me, so I can't even imagine what it was to you. I would say though that when you're going to events like this, try to, if it's, and this is me having been a ham for years, and the thing I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt about now, knowing now what I didn't know then, is I didn't go to things like the forums back when I should have, because I was too focused on what can I buy and what's for sale and what deal can I get. And I really should have paid more attention to the forums to learn things faster. So that would be a recommendation that I would make, is go to those forums. Even if it's something you might not be interested in, you never know. It might be something that captures your interest. But yeah, and Big John's Ham Shack there says no one knows how much in the beginning, or knows much in the beginning. Don't get frustrated. Absolutely learn at your own pace and in your own time. And that kind of goes back to that kind of find a niche and explore it in depth and not worry too much about all the things.
Absolutely. And Lou, I'm going to sidebar here for a second. You've been a ham as long as I've been alive.
Get off my lawn.
I think he's been a ham longer than you've been alive.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, if you were born in June, because I was licensed in March of '88.
Yeah, so you've literally been a ham longer than I've been alive. Yeah. Okay, so Tyler, does that help you a little bit there?
I
might have to Izzo rant.
I don't have that queued up, but you can. Go ahead, Tyler.
I've heard a lot about ham radio, and it's very interesting. But I know it's like when I'm learning, it's just trying to, as he was saying, don't get frustrated and all that stuff. And I don't get frustrated often. It's just trying to take it all in at this point, and just trying to learn. Just read some books a little bit and try to learn as much as I possibly can. Are there like what would be a good way to start learning? Is it just like starting to look up stuff like CW how to, or start reading more books? I got one book after the passing my general from what's his name, Garth or something. But
yeah.
Garth's a good guy.
But yeah, I was just trying to read more books, trying to learn more. And do you have any suggestions on how I can learn more?
You know, Tyler, the one thing I'll tell you is get out to field day this year. So that's the 4th complete weekend in June. And go hang with some grizzled folks who've, been doing it for a year or two longer than you have, and try all the things. And the one piece of advice I give to every candidate that I give an examination to is ham radio is a hobby of 1,000 hobbies, and follow your heart. Because you're going to be passionate about it and you're going to keep going at it. So get out to a club meeting, get out to field day. That's just right around the corner, June 20 something. I don't have a calendar in front of me. 4th full weekend in June every year. And try all the things. And who knows, you might be overwhelmed, but you might be able to glom onto something, and something will lead to 5 more things. And that's how you start learning.
The 29th and 30th, and I will expand on what Vince just said a little bit. When it comes time, because they're probably already doing it. I know my club's doing it. If your club, or if you don't belong to a club, your local club that you might want to join is getting ready for field day right now, and they're probably looking for signups of, hey, who wants to help us do this? Who wants to help us do that? Sign up for one particular thing in setting up and taking stuff down, and do that and learn from those at field day helping you out. And I want to address Big John's here. He's right. Don't get analysis paralysis. Go do it. You can overanalyze everything that you're going to do and attempt to be perfect. So just make sure you don't get that analysis paralysis. That is a big important part. Lou?
Yeah, I would say also, in addition to that, go out to field day and help out. Ask questions while you're doing it too.
Absolutely.
And the other thing, when we say go try all the things, that doesn't mean necessarily, that doesn't mean, you got to go buy all the gear and, you got to go buy satellite antennas and things like that. Just find somebody who does that and say, hey, can I go out with you and watch and show me what you do? That's the easiest way to do that. It really is. But, again, and as far as sideband, especially, there's not much learning curve really there. It's more mental than skill. And that may not sound, maybe that's not really as clear as I want to be, because I think CW is very mental, but there's not as much learning curve to it. And to go back to what Vince was saying, if you just do some what we call casual contesting, where you're not even worried about turning in a log, but if you spend, if there's a big contest going on, a CQ Worldwide or an ARRL sweepstakes or something like that, go sit at home at the shack and do that for 3 or 4 hours. And it will really, really do worlds to improve your operating and how you hear things on the air.
And if you expand on what Lou just said about contesting in particular, don't just get on the air and try to contest. I learned that one the hard way. Just don't do that. Listen, spin the dial a bit, listen to how others are operating, and learn how others operate. Everyone has their own style operating, just like in CW, everyone has their own fist. So on sideband, it's the same way. You could get, your dad calls you, you give him 5'9", he says 73. All right, cool. That's all you need in the log, or there's ones that will exchange signals and all the rest of the information. It all depends upon the contest, and just listen around and see what you can find out before trying to make a contest happen for you.
Sorry, Frank. Big John's Ham Shack's got a great comment there you should highlight.
Yeah.
He doesn't like talking, but he loves ham. So Big John has found a way to not talk and still love the hobby. And one of my co-patriots, one of the co-founders of Ham Radio Workbench, George calls this a propagation ham. He's a guy who George calls himself that. To be clear, I'm not calling Big John that, although he might be. But he likes getting all the gear ready to go, and then when it comes to operating, it's kind of So some people get into that. Model railroading, you see a lot of that. You see guys that like running the trains, and you see guys that love wiring the switches and doing the command control, the DCC, and all the rest of that stuff that goes along with it, right?
That's 100% me. I'll run all day. Don't ask me to wire anything. I do enough of that in the ham world.
Yeah, and I'm the exact reverse.
So, Andy, I know Tyler probably hears it all the time from you. What's your 2 cents on this?
Well, my 2 cents on it is, kind of like echoing everyone else. I don't want to do that, but that you've all made such great points here, is to filter, everything. Filter everything, I mean, find something that you'll find something that you enjoy, sooner or later you will. And it's just a matter of trying everything and getting to the club. I know Cedar Rapids has a great club there, Seabark, and we can get you over to that. And your uncle's probably in that as well.
Probably.
Yeah. And so there's people around that'll help, and the equipment. I mean, I have a lot of equipment, and you can come and use it anytime. We got the satellite set up, we got FT8 set up, we got HF, we got amplifier, we got everything here, And we got some CW stuff if you do get interested in CW. When I was trying to learn CW here, a couple years ago, I'm sitting there just trying to learn on my Morcerino, that I built, which I enjoyed building, but using was a different story. But I started using it, and he's sitting here. I'm trying to memorize this or trying to learn what this dits and das are, and he's just ripping them off. Oh, well, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. I was into numbers at that time, and obviously the next one is this is 3, and he's just rattling it off, and my old brain is sitting here trying to process everything.
Got to interrupt for 1 second, Vince.
Yep.
I'm gonna let you or Lou lead control here. I have to jump out for 30 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. Real good. Sorry, Andy. Go ahead, man.
So yeah, I mean, he's got that young brain, that'll just absorb information. So it's just a matter of him finding what trips his trigger there, I think, at some point.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And then he'll be able to just run with it. Yeah. So
yeah, right on. Lou, anything to add there?
Yeah, it's at this point in this stage in the game, it's really just experimenting and finding what you like and what you want to delve into. And do your thing, it's develop your own style and what you like to do. And, don't let anybody don't let anybody say, well, we've always done it this way and that's the way it has to be done. And don't take that crap either.
That is 100% correct. I want to circle back around this. I had it highlighted. Troy says, join several YouTube channels and just listen in the background. Soon you'll be chiming in. He's learned a lot about antennas, bonding, accessories, etc. That is 100% true. That is how I learned quite a bit of the newer knowledge that I know now. So there you go.
For sure, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, I mean, there's so many great content there, creators out there. Vince Ham Radio Workbench is fantastic. I mean, I can't say enough good things about what you do over there.
Thank you.
Thank you. The only problem, Vince, and I echo Carlos here on the air. It's every time it's okay. What am I spending my money on now?
Have you heard about the Omnifixo lately? Yeah, just about. Frank did a spit take. Yeah, that's what we're good for. Oh, well, I did that. It was bad enough that I had done that on the show, and then Carlos and I were in a testing session together, and he says, and then Vince mentions the Omnifixo, and somebody else says, "What's that?" And I did exactly what I did now. I slid back, grabbed it out of my tool bag, and 2 more guys said, "Okay, I've got one in my cart now. Thanks." They had some colorful language to go along with it.
So, Tyler, I have a question for you. Are you planning to get your extra, or are you just going to stay at general?
That's a loaded question the way Frank asked it.
It is, but it has to be asked.
I've talked to several people, and I've heard several different opinions on this. Some people are like, yeah, I just stay at general. My dad just went to extra as fast as possible. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go do that. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to wait a little bit and learn. If I can, once I get to like a basic understanding of a lot of things, I feel like I might go after that extra so I can just say I have that. Because that sometimes I just hear that and it's like, okay, that's just, right now it's out of reach for me because it's a lot of learning right now. So it's just trying to wrap my brain around it, and it's like, okay, I don't think I'm gonna get it right now though.
Okay. So
I would say don't worry too much about it, and that's because I didn't. So I mentioned earlier I was first licensed in '88. I didn't get extra until 2 years ago. I just not saying I didn't try a couple of times. I did, and did not succeed. But it wasn't really a priority to me, because I could do everything I wanted to do with the general.
Absolutely. I got to echo Lou's comments there. I'll be honest, for the first 20 years of being a ham, I was a technician and I was completely happy with 6'10", that little taste of HF, and 2 meters and 70 centimeters UHF. I stayed there. That was my comfort zone. And then I broke out the manual. I went back to the Gordon West manual and I studied, and I tried QRZ and I studied even more. And then I finally got my general, and I've been absolutely thrilled. It just expanded the horizon. Now, I'm going to say this. Am I going to upgrade to extra? Probably not. I mean, in reality, especially, there's only a few pros to upgrading to extra for us. If you travel a lot, especially overseas, that's a good time to consider getting your extra, because then you have that reciprocating agreement with other countries. Whereas with a general license, we don't have that in every country. We can go to Canada and we can go to a couple others. Trying to think off the top of my head. I know Canada for sure, where us generals can go there and we can operate within. Vince, correct me here if I'm off base. We can operate within their version of the general's band plan and power arrangements.
It is, and the way I explain, so there's two reciprocity agreements you're talking about. The
Yeah.
first one, everywhere other than Canada, there are many, but the largest one is CEPT, Charlie Echo Papa Tango. The Canadian-U.S. reciprocity agreement predates them all. It was written in the 1950s. And the way I think of it is, it's the lesser of the two equivalences. So, for example, in the U.S., technician class can own and operate a repeater. In Canada, that is top ticket. You need to be advanced class to do that. And so when you come into Canada, you can't own and operate a repeater. It's the lesser of the two equivalences. Correspondingly, if I'm a Canadian with Basic Plus, that's roughly general class equivalent. I have privilege all over the 20-meter band. I mean, you all in the general, there's an exclusion, 14,150 to 14,175. I think that's what the exclusion is. Don't shoot me if I got that wrong. Thank you. And so when I come down to the States as a Basic Plus or Basic with honors, I don't have full free reign, and I must obey the ARRL band plan. So the lesser of the two is the way I always think of that.
So with that being said, there are some pros to upgrading to extra, but I'll look at it. I look at my little cheat sheet here. Generals, extras have 7125 on 40 to 7.3, whereas we only have 7178 technically to 7300. So there's that little extra 25 kc or so of band space that we get across different bands compared to extra. So I'm not planning on upgrading either, but this was leading into for those that are generals. And let me share my screen here. There is a neat little, okay, which one is it? Hopefully this is the right one. Yes, it is. You guys are going to see Inception here for a second, if I don't do it quick enough. Quirky QRP Ham Radio, James. Most of you know him as James Hannibal in the chat. He has some fantastic band plan type things that you can get. Mouse pads, folders, ham radio reference mats, and whatnot that you can get. And I'll bring up this one, the Ham Shack reference mat. It is absolutely fantastic for us generals because it will show you, trying to make this a lot bigger here, it'll show you exactly where you can be and how you can be on each band, along with a bunch of other stuff, including, oh, come on, there we go, the common VHF, UHF frequency, calling frequencies, the common HF frequencies, what the RST system really means. A lot of people don't understand that one, because I'll get someone responding to me and they're like 5'9", and they give me a 5'2" at best. And then I listen back because I set up so I can hear recordings throughout the area, and I know, hey, I'm getting out a lot better than that to that general area. So a lot of people don't understand the RST system, all the Q codes, and Vince's favorite, the ITU, the DX, and the DX alternative phonetic alphabet. So, as a general, these mats are pretty cool to have, and they're portable too. You can fold them up and take them wherever you want and have lots of fun with them. So if you haven't yet, that is something that you could probably get. Maybe get your dad over here to get you if he hasn't already. That way you can remember exactly where you can be. I love how I say that, and your dad disappears.
Hey, Frank, to follow up on that too for portability, real quick. I don't know if they still sell them or not. I bought a few of them last year at Huntsville. If you check the POTA, the gear store for POTA, they had these metal, and give me something, I'll snag one of them. I got one laying over here across on the other side of the shack. These metal plates with the band plan on them, which are also extremely portable. You throw them in your backpack, whatever, in with your Go kit. And the beauty of those is, instead of printing one out, it's not going to blow away in the wind, and you can just stick it wherever you want to around whatever you're operating. Hang on a second, I'll see if I can find one.
All right, yeah, I thought I had one here, but in the same note, James mats are pretty heavy. They're not going to blow away too easily, but they're nice and they're great to have. And yeah, and let's see here. There's a comment here I saw go by. I wanted to. Here we go. So going back to whether or not to upgrade to extra, Rob has a good point. He's waiting for the new question pool, and watch for the classes on YouTube. Sometimes that is the easiest way to upgrade. The extra class changes here at the beginning of July, and they already have the new test books out. I haven't looked at them yet, but I am definitely interested to see if maybe the extra is finally just that's a little bit easier than it has been, so that some of us can get the extra. I mean, as I said, the only reason for the extra would be to upgrade our class so that if you go overseas, you can operate.
No, the reason that I went and got extra was because I heard the people, a lot of DX stations, on 7 megahertz on 40 meters, and I'm like, I can't try and talk to those people, and I'm like, I don't like being told I can't try and talk to those people. So how do I do that? Okay, so I have to go do that. So
that is true.
It's kind of out of spite. I got extra out of spite. So.
Oh, your screen's taking it out, Lou. There you go.
Yeah, those are cool.
Let me solo you real quick. Let's bring that up.
Lou, you got it upside down though. And you're muted.
I'm having all kind of technical difficulties. I told you I was just absolutely beat down tired. Let me take this thing out of the plastic. It'll probably show up a little better. There we go.
There you go.
That's the extra version. They do have a general version.
They do
as well, but that's what it looks like.
Is that a magnet or
no? It's just a piece of of aluminum
printed on aluminum. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So and that way, instead of having a sheet of paper, which is what I used to have a laminated card that I take with me. But it was lightweight, and this doesn't blow away in the wind.
Oh, see, I'm one of those people that. Let's see if I can find it. I use a physical computer mouse when I'm out with my laptop. I absolutely hate trackpads on laptops. Yes, I'm one of those guys. Throw all the hate comments you want. I know they're out there, but I use a mouse with my laptop. And so Oh, looks like Lou's team just won something.
2-run homer to walk it off in the bottom of the 10th.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
So I use James Mat as not only a mouse pad but a laptop pad, so that the underside of the laptop doesn't get dirty, and I can sit there. I'll sit there with my mat, and the band plan's right there. My laptop's on top of it, not getting dirty. So, all right, that's my spiel on James's stuff for generals. Tyler, do you have any more questions, or should I pick on your dad over here?
I have one more, just small question. So
Yeah.
it can be completely unrelated. I have absolutely no idea. But at my work, I've heard about they do some RF stuff, and there's this one company. I don't know if it deals much with ham radio though. It's called Anritsu. Do you know about the? Do you know anything about
Anritsu.
that?
Oh yeah, great quality test gear.
Obviously, Vince knows more about it than I do. So, Vince, I'll let you take this one.
And so, what's the question related to Anritsu?
Does that deal with ham radio at all? Is that
Well, RF is RF, right?
Yeah.
And so, before we had these things, there's 5 radios inside of a cell phone, right? The fondle slab is one of the trade rags that I read calls it. And so the Anritsu stuff is broadbanded RF analysis tools. So will it work on the ham bands? Some of them will. It depends on what frequencies it covers. Because we have a slice of that frequency of the overall electromagnetic frequency spectrum. We have several slices. We have one, two, don't shoot me if I get this wrong, 7 slices, 10 slices below 30 megahertz, for example, in the HF portion of the band. We have some slices in the VHF portion, et cetera, et cetera. And these tools work across all of those, generally speaking. We have Anritsu analyzers in our club that we take out to repeater sites. And while they're not expressly designed for the amateur bands, they work there.
Okay. I'm just trying to, there's an RF section of the place that I work at. I'm trying to learn a little bit more about that so I can maybe go into that a little bit more. And I know they deal some stuff with Anritsu, and they're going to send some guys for Anritsu training sometime. So I just wanted to know about that a little bit more.
Well, I think, cool. From a career perspective, if you were to walk into the director's office responsible for that division and say, hey, so I just got my general and I'm thinking about working on my extra class license. Y'all got any extra toys I can play with, or somehow I can help you out off the side of my desk?
Yeah.
I mean, the worst they can say is no, go away, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And the best is you get a promotion, right? Assuming it's a promotion, of course.
Maybe.
I'll tell you.
Like, yeah, do it.
I'll tell you another thing as far as that goes is there are companies out there. I don't know if Anritsu does it. I know Rody and Schwartz does it. Where and then professional or organizations, associations, things like that, who do provide classes as well for that kind of thing. So if you do it, it's one of those things from a professional standpoint that if you want to take the initiative, yourself and just do those courses and then walk in one day and plop a bunch of certificates on HR's desk or the supervisor's desk or something like that. That says 2 things to them. 1, obviously that you're taking the initiative to do things, and 2, that you're learning this stuff. This stuff as well. So it might be worth looking around in. There's probably some free stuff out there. I don't know. Don't quote me on this, because I haven't looked in a long time. From like IEEE, they probably have some free stuff, and that's at least at a lower level. That's probably free. I would imagine their advanced stuff is not only going to cost you. It would probably cost you a pretty penny. I know that one of the associations that I'm in, which is Association of Old Crows, they do a lot of stuff. If you are a member, a lot of times it's free. If you're not, then there's a nominal fee, a charge for that stuff. But they get in depth into a lot of very arcane electrical engineering and RF principles subjects.
And I will also add this to it. It is a bit more study intensive than any ham test, even the extra. So, you know, it might not be for you, and that's totally okay. Go look at your general radio operator's license, or GROL. That might help you, because that expands your knowledge. Oh, there goes my camera. That expands your knowledge of RF and how it works in the real world.
And speaking of that, because I got my GROL years ago, if I don't know where you work or what the situation is, but when I got mine, we were provided the class testing. Everything was provided at no cost through the union that I was in CWA at the time. So that might be an avenue for you to get to that. Now, they did the basic GROL. They didn't do, like the radar endorsement portion of it. And they didn't do the I think there's a maritime endorsement that you can get on that. But that might be a way to get that at no cost.
Absolutely. And if Ryan's talking about the GROL here, elements 1 and 3 apparently are what you want to look at. Lou, correct me if that's wrong, please.
Man, that's been so long ago. I couldn't even tell you. I mean, I've got a copy of it in my wallet, but so yeah, I got a GROL. But I mean, I did that in Ryan 2000, 2001.
Element 6 and element 8, GMDSS and radar. So there you go. That's something to at least poke your head into and see if maybe that if it expands your work, what you do at work and whatnot, it's always worth taking a look at it.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah.
Andy, do you have anything to add? I know we've been picking on Tyler here quite a bit, but I want to get you in here too.
That's fine. I'm enjoying it, man. That's good, because he can hear it from me, but hearing it from you guys, it does make a difference. It does. So,
Tyler, your dad paid us for this. No, I'm joking.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We all got new Flex 8800s.
Where's mine?
Wait, wrong way.
We all got Flex 8800s.
It's the exchange rate. Rate. It'll get
I'm
okay.
totally joking.
Wow.
Anything you want to add, Andy? Anything more?
Keep it up, and you can attach this to your work. I mean, because what you're doing right now, I mean, it there's opportunities there. So just keep your head up, and like everybody else has echoed through the whole thing, don't get discouraged, and if you can find a way to find something in ham radio that you love, and then get it to go together with your work, I mean, you'll be set. I mean,
and I'll say
that'll be finding something you love and then being able to work at it too is that's the way to do it.
With this comment that Ryan has for the GROL, and then we'll leave the GROL alone, it's worth an extra $1 an hour more at his work. So, if you have a serious RF division at where you work, might be something to look into.
Okay.
So
For sure.
With about 10 minutes left, Tyler, do you have any more questions or anything at all? Anything, questions or ideas or anything? Let's hear them.
Ideas. I've always been interested in the contesting portion of it, but I just don't know exactly what it means. When you say contesting, I've heard it. I just don't know exactly what it means. I haven't heard it explained that much.
Vince, I'm going to let you take this one. And Lou, I think you've done a bit of contesting too over the years. So I'll let you two take this one, because I do about this much contesting.
I was going to say, somebody call Kyle real quick, and we'll be here for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's already Kyle's bed. He's already had his ice cream and he's tucked away in bed.
Yeah. Yeah. So contesting is an activity where you get on the radio and you attempt to make contact with as many people as you can in a defined period of time with a defined exchange of information. It might be a signal report in your state or a signal report in your name and the year you were licensed. The exchange varies. And the purpose behind contesting is to better your skills. It is to benchmark your station. And if you participate in the same contest on a repetitive basis, you can look at the changes you've done to your station and see how effective they are. It's good for points and certificates you can hang on your wall. And some people really like that kind of competitive activity. There was a time when I didn't mind doing a 48-hour contest. I'm now more the 4-hour style because I can't sit in a chair that long. Lou, what would you add?
Yeah, I would say if you want to do some contesting, ARRL has a contest calendar. I'm sure you can find it other places on the internet, but ARRL keeps a contest calendar so you can see what's going to be. They're almost always going to be on a weekend. So you can see what's going to be when and what you might be interested in potentially playing around with. Read the rules so you know the start and finish times, and then understand what the exchange is. And even now, as a casual contester, when I do it, I will have written on like a 3x5 card and taped right there in front of me what the exchange is. Now, after about 20, 30 minutes of doing it, you're going to understand, you're going to know what it is. It'll be burned into your brain. But it's a nice little reminder up there to know what your exchange is going to be, which is usually a signal report and then some other piece of information. I would say you want to have a logger or a logging program, unlike the old days back. I can remember scribbling in pencil on these things years ago. Find a good logging program that you like. That's another thing that's going to take some experimentation and whatnot. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's really a free one that would work well for that. I think you can tweak hammers to contesting if you.
There's
AC log.
AC log. Yeah.
I know N3FJP has limited.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Abilities.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of N3FJP for that kind of thing. And honestly, it's worth it just to pay the upfront lump sum fee, and so you got access to everything because he always updates the software and adds new stuff, and you still will have access to it. If he comes out with a new log for a specific contest, if you've already bought that lifetime thing, I don't know what it is now. It used to be something like $70. He will send you an email going, here's your registration code for this new contest log. So it's very much worth the value. And I would say also don't sweat it too much. Just get in there and play. Now, if you're a competitive person, you might find those competitive juices coming out and you start rolling and rolling and rolling.
Oh, absolutely.
But I can tell you, I have never, ever submitted a contest log. And I have said it at my radio for 36 hours before contesting and never submitted a log because I didn't care about the score. It was the thrill of the hunt and seeing who I could talk to and and Vince was talking about benchmarking your station. This is a really good way to do it too. Another thing is one, you really get a good idea of what propagation looks like. And two, when they say, oh, the bands are dead, wait till there's a contest. Suddenly the bands come alive. I don't care what the band conditions are. And sometimes some of the big gun contest stations will send out QSL cards too. I've got a few of them from big contest stations from like I think they're on the wall over here. A couple of them like from CQ, the CQ Worldwide. I've gotten a couple of QSL cards from European, the big gun European contesting stations. So that's always fun too. That's that side aspect to the hobby. That's, another one of those things. But it's a lot of those guys, when they log them, they'll also log them. If you're a paper chaser for like DXCC or Worked All States or something like that, those logs, a lot of those guys will usually they will upload their contest log as well. So you can get credit for those. So if you want to upload your log. Now, I have uploaded my contest logs into Logbook of the World, but I have never submitted one for scoring because I was just never, I never had a score. I was like, there's no way I'm even going to place anywhere. So, it didn't matter. It was fun though. That's why I just do it for the fun of it.
Absolutely.
I was going to say rookie roundup, and then state QSO parties too. I mean, because there's always one of those going on. But the rookie roundup, SSB or whatever, that always seemed like it'd be interesting too. What is that? 3 years you have to be for rookie roundup?
Under
Something
3,
like
yeah.
that.
Under 3, yeah.
To give you a good idea here, this weekend probably already started because it's over UTC Day, is the International Digital Contest. And Tyler, I can send your dad these links so that he can send them to you. But there's the International Digital Contest this weekend, and next weekend is June VHF Contest. And if we switch over to Vince's screen here, Vince, can you plus that up a little bit?
Yeah, I can certainly do that. Let me plus up the right screen though. So hey,
I
let
have
me
that trouble too.
Yeah, I picked the wrong tab to plus up. And so let me give you a tour here. The WA7 BNM contest calendar gives you a nice graphical format of what's going on at any time. And if you want to know what the rules are for the K1 USN slow speed test, well, you just click on it and it jumps you down the page and it'll tell you where you post the scores, where the rules are found, but it gives you a really brief overview of it. What's the exchange you want to work? Well, maximum, it's a CW contest, maximum 20 words a minute, and your name plus your state, province, or country. And so that makes it real easy. So the WA7 BNM contest calendar, and I've posted that link in the chat.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think Tyler, I just saw in there the IARU HF World Championship coming up in July. That's a good one, really, to play around with, like casually jump in and make some contacts. That would be a real good one for you right now, since that's going to be sideband.
Especially if you're good with sideband, any good sideband contests, just as I said earlier, take a listen for a little bit, see how others are doing it, that you can, from what you can hear, and even use an SDR like Utah or something to get a broader listening range. Just listening, don't try to contest with the SDR, but just to listen and see how others are doing it so that you can get a feel for what it's like. And when I say it can get hectic, trust me, it can get crazy. You think a POTA pileup is bad, contesting is much worse.
Oh, contesting can be much worse, but it doesn't have to be. Now, Mike's got a really good comment in here. You should highlight that, Frank. I always look forward to the VHF contests. Are fun to mix with POTA and SOTA. And VHF is a really VHF contests are a good kind of gateway drug to that. So anyway, Tyler, I hope we've answered your question about what's a contest and how do you do it and why do you do it and all those things.
Oh,
and we've lost Tyler. Right about that, I guess we have our answer. Go ahead, Frank.
All right. Well, hopefully he comes back here real quick. I'll just plop him out for a second here. Tyler,
well, that's going to intrigue you.
You're good to go.
Oh, yeah, the contesting side's really going to be interesting to him. So that might be the thing that really gets it going for him. So
yeah,
Tyler, give me a thumbs up when you're good to go again.
And POTA's like a contest, but you're running it, you're driving it, and it's as long as you want it to be. And that's one of the kind of the addictive things about POTA, right? You got to love working a pile up to like POTA, and not everybody does. A dear friend of mine has been licensed twice as long as me, and he says, "Oh no, I can't talk at the same time as somebody else. That just doesn't feel right." But he does POTA, and he gets really excited by it. But he gets flustered when 3 people call him. That's okay. Right. There's something for everybody in the hobby.
I will tell you, I've never been on the receiving end of pileups like I have been in POTA, except for when I was deployed to Iraq and I was operating as YI9 VEU. Those were some crazy pileups.
That would get you some pile-ups. So, Tyler, does this help you with the contesting idea and hopefully answered a bunch of your questions?
Yeah, it's been very helpful. Learning a lot of stuff today. Yeah, learning about the contest it seems interesting. I am extremely competitive, so it seems
Okay.
pretty interesting to me.
So Mike says, and I think we'll wrap it up with this one. When doing VHF contests, I often have 2 to 3 radios going on at least 2 to 3 different bands and modes. It does get chaotic at times when I'm trying 6-meter FT8 and working FM simplex on 2 HTs for 2-meter and 1.25 meters. So absolutely, it can get crazy, but it is a lot of fun. We have hit the hour mark. I want to thank you guys for coming on. I'm going to round table this again real quick so we can do outros, and then we'll be out of here. And if you want to, if you four want to stick, I'm seeing 5 screens. I'm thinking 5. If you four want to stick around after, feel free to do so. Andy, we'll start with you. We'll go back the other way.
Hey, thanks a lot, Frank. I do appreciate it. Great to be with you all. And I wanted to talk about the URC, but that's okay. We had a lot of fun helping Tyler out, and I appreciate it. I
Next
really
time,
do.
remind me next time. And Vince, as you're dropping our links, let's talk about you. Wrap it up.
Hey, well, Frank, thanks for having me on. It was great to meet a few people for the very first time this evening. Follow along my exploits on Ham Radio Workbench or on YouTube at VE6LK or VE6LK.com. Just as soon as I get my WordPress up and running, don't go there right now. It looks fugly with a capital F.
Fantastic. Lou?
Well, yeah, happy to help out, Tyler, and I'm sure that there's plenty of discords. If you're not in those, jump in those and ask questions. That's what all of us are really here for, is to help out as best we can and help you get into the hobby and help you get comfortable and find that niche that you want to play in. So.
Absolutely. And your dad has probably 90% of them. And if he doesn't, he can message me and I can send him all the links I'm members of. So, Tyler, all you. Anything you want to say?
It's great to be a part of the community now. Getting into it and learning as much as possible. It's been a pretty good time so far the past couple months. Going down to Memphis and doing a whole bunch of POTAs and stuff like that. It's just been, a lot of it's just been extremely interesting to me. So I hope I can learn a lot more in the coming months, years, and see where it takes me.
Fantastic. Well, might have you back on as a guest in a little while and see how you're doing.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody. Wave by the camera. 73, y'all. Have fun.